Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to offer some initial thoughts ahead of this important conference. I'll begin with three important questions. First, am I concerned at the fact that a young black man in Leicestershire is 5 times more likely to be stopped and searched than his white counterpart? Yes, of course I am. Secondly, do I think a different approach to the way in which our communities are policed is part of the solution? Yes, is the answer to that too. Third question, do I think there's institutional racism in the Leicestershire Police? Well, after 5 years of working really closely with the Chief Officer team here in Leicestershire, and having also observed frontline policing at first hand, I have absolutely no hesitation in answering no to that question. But do I feel the social phenomenon that some describe as white privilege can shape the culture that exists in all public bodies, including the police? Well, sadly, the uncomfortable answer to that fourth question is yes. I would argue that the most important question of all is what can be done about it. And that's why this conference matters. For me, time is running out insofar as the opportunity to directly influence the strategic direction of policing in Leicestershire is concerned. Having said that, I leave office with a framework in place that I feel goes some way towards assessing and addressing that problem. There's an expression, of course, attributed to the founder of British policing, Sir Robert Peel, that is used on many, many occasions. Quote, "The public are the police and the police are the public." It's an inescapable fact that today, when we examine the current makeup of the Leicestershire Police from a racial perspective, it fails to measure up against this famous maxim. This has got to change. Actually, it is changing. But I felt it was changing too slowly, and the Chief Constable, Simon Cole, agreed. That's why I gave a speech to the Leicester African Heritage Alliance in October last year. I drew on some of the lessons from the peaceful BLM protests that had taken place in Leicestershire during the summer. The speech contained a commitment endorsed and supported by Simon Cole and the police. I said that I wanted, and I'm quoting again, a step change to a situation where not less than 1 in 4 of the new recruits of the police family comes from the Black, Asian and minority ethnic community, with a particular focus on Black Africans / Afro-Caribbean communities. Now, please don't get me wrong. British policing has come a very long way since the murder of Stephen Lawrence 30 years ago. But clearly there's more to be done. That's why the measures that I proposed are now embedded in the police force management arrangements, our policy and strategy, our community challenges, and the creation of several new research posts. And I'll give a definitive progress report just days before I leave office on the 30th of April. Let me finish this pre-recorded contribution with a challenge. If we just move forward simply to a situation where young black men are still being disproportionately stopped, searched, even if those police officers are black, we will still have failed. This won't be a failing on part of the Leicestershire Police. It'll be a failing on the part of wider society, and that means every one of us. People in Leicestershire are stopped and searched on the grounds that a police officer believes that an offence has been committed, or indeed may about be committed. The rigorous scrutiny measures that are in place, both internally and those involving independent members of the public, show that this power is used appropriately in most cases. We receive only a handful of complaints, and these are thoroughly investigated. I'm conscious, of course, that formal complaints can't always reflect the reality on the ground, but the actions of any police officer involved in a complaint can be verified using body-worn video footage, a relatively new technology development that I have championed and supported financially. It's my view that body-worn video should be used during all stop searches. If it isn't, then senior police officers must be asked and asking the question, why? The figures show that positive stop search outcomes are broadly the same, irrespective of the ethnicity of the individual concerned. There is no hard evidence of police harassment or prejudice here in Leicestershire. Perceptions, of course, alas, may differ. Why then are young black men, 5 times more likely to be the subject of stop search than young white boys? The answer goes far beyond policing. Heat map data also reveals that stop search in Leicestershire is most commonly used in some of the most deprived communities and areas of our city and county, neighbourhoods with the highest concentration of non-white citizens. The link between deprivation and crime is well established. We won't eradicate racism until the tragedies of marginalisation, exclusion, and the economic drivers that push young people, and I mean young people of all races, into a life of crime are vanquished. Newspaper headlines suggesting that Downing Street believes that, and I quote, the UK should be seen as a model of racial equality, end quote, are plainly absurd. The police, their public sector partners, voluntary organisations, the business community, and all of you taking part in this conference today has a really important part to play. So I look forward to the discussion on the 20th of April, and more importantly, playing my part in developing and promoting the solutions that emerge, both as your Police and Crime Commissioner, but also after I have left office.